Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. What is CAR T cell therapy made in India cancer treatment that has cured first patient? The first patient has been declared cancer free using India's CAR T cell therapy, an indigenous cancer treatment which has been approved for commercial use by the Central Drug Standard Control Organization. CAR T therapy genetically reprograms a patient's immune system to fight cancer. T cells that maintain the body's immunity are customized for each patient and then put back into their body. 8 veterans of the Indian Navy who were sentenced to death in Qatar were released last week. Their capital punishment was commuted to an extended prison term earlier following diplomatic intervention by New Delhi. They were imprisoned in Qatar since October 2022 and were accused of allegedly of espionage. The 8 men were working for a private company, Dehra Global, in their personal capacity. They were overseeing the induction of Italian U-212 stealth submarines in the Qatari Emiri Naval Force. New Delhi had welcomed the release of the 8 Indian nationals working for the Dahra Global Company who were detained in Qatar. In a statement, Ministry of External Affairs said 7 out of 8 of them have returned to India. The MEA has appreciated the decision by the Amir of the State of Qatar to enable the release of the homecoming of these nationals. Myanmar junta has made military service mandatory for all young men aged from 18 to 35 and women aged from 18 to 27. The country has been witnessing violence since the military coup happened in 2021. The law was reportedly authored by a previous junta in 2010 but was never brought to force. India's Unified Payment Interface UPI service has been rolled out in Sri Lanka and Mauritius. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President of Sri Lanka Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister of Mauritius Pravind Jagannath witnessed the launch of UPI services in the island nations. Besides this, RuPay card service were launched in Mauritius. The government said it will enable the ability of UPI settlement services for Indians traveling to Sri Lanka and Mauritius. With this, there are total 7 countries which now accept UPI payment, including France, UAE, Bhutan, Nepal, and Singapore. Army Chief General Manoj Pandey embarked on an official visit to the United States of America last week. During his 4 days official visit, Chief of the Army Staff participated in a high-level discussions and interacted with the United States Chief of Staff of the Army General Randy George and other senior military leaders. General Pandey also visited Pentagon. According to the Defense Ministry, this visit underscores the deepening military cooperation and strategic partnership between India and United States. It also aimed at strengthening defense cooperation and fostering stronger bonds between the armies of both nations. During the visit, ideas were exchanged on the crucial topics such as transformation in the Indian Army, global threat perception, transformation to Army 2030-2040, human resources challengism, future force development and modernization, and co-production and co-development initiatives. India-Bangladesh opened trade through Maya, that is West Bengal, and Sultanganj in Bangladesh river ports on Ganga River on Monday last week. Shantanu Thakur, Indian Minister for States for Ports, Shipping and Waterway, flagged off the first cargo vessel carrying stones from Maya Inland Customs Port. At Sultanganj, Bangladesh State Minister for Shipping Khalid Muhammad Chaudhry and the High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh Pranay Verma jointly inaugurated Sultanganj Godagiri port of call and flagged off a cargo vessel from Sultanganj, Bangladesh to Maya Port, India. The riverine distance between Maya Port and the Sultanganj Port is 16 kilometers, out of which 4.5 kilometers of waterways are in India and the remaining 11.5 are in Bangladesh. The inland waterway route, once operational, 200 to 300 tons of goods can be transported in each cargo, which will lessen the pressure on road transportation. When the river ports become fully operational, this move will lower the prices of the different commodities on each side of the border due to the low transportation cost, and it will also boost trade and connectivity between India and Bangladesh. Business leaders in Bangladesh said the river port will primarily be used to import stones, fly ash, coal, fruits, vegetables, and spices from India, as well as to export jute and garments to the world. A new traffic signaling system based on Japanese Moderato, that is, management of origin destination related adaptation for traffic optimization technology, is being used for trial purposes in Bangalore. The new system will enable signals to change automatically based on the density of vehicles at each junction. Separate pedestrian signals will help people cross busy junctions. The Supreme Court has struck down the electoral bond scheme, terming it as unconstitutional. The court stated that the scheme that allowed anonymous funding to political parties is violative of right to information and freedom of speech under constitution. Electoral bond schemes isn't the only scheme to curb black money. There are other alternatives as well, the court commented. Japan slips into recession, loses spot as the world's third largest economy. Japan's economy slipped into a recession as it shrank for a second straight quarter on a weak domestic demand, data showed. Two consecutive quarters of contraction is considered the definition of a technical recession. GDP fell an annualized 0.4% in October December after a 3.3 slump in the previous quarter. Japan also lost its spot as the world's third largest economy to Germany. What is Bharat Mart? India's mega project inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi in Dubai. Bharat Mart is a warehousing facility aimed at enabling Indian companies to trade in Dubai. Inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it's expected to be operational next year and will have retail showrooms, warehouses, offices, and other facilities. This is similar to China's Dragon Mart. It will help reduce the time and cost of the shipping goods between India and other countries. Indonesian Defense Minister Subianto claims victory in presidential polls. Indonesian Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto has claimed victory in the country's presidential elections based on early tallies. He had between 57 to 59 percentages of votes, and with over 80% of the votes counted in polling places sampled. Notably, Subianto had reportedly served as a special forces commander in the unit linked to torture and disappearances during a period of dictatorship in the country. The 16th conference of the World Social Forum WSF 2024 commenced in Kathmandu on Thursday. The 5-day WSF 2024 under the Another World is Possible banner aims to open horizontal exchanges between civil society organizations, social movements, trade unions, and individuals opposing neoliberal globalization. This edition of WSF will focus on a myriad of pressing issues including economic inequality, climate justice, labor, migration, caste discrimination, gender equality, peace, sustainable development, and many others to engage in a dialogue and the actions that challenge neoliberal globalization and promote a more equitable, sustainable, and just world. Since its inception in 2001, the WSF has been a beacon for social movements, union, and activists to come together, share experiences, and build strategies for change. More than 1,252 organizations from 92 countries are expected to take part in person and virtually in the 5-day forum, which will conclude on 19th of February. The GSLV F4, named Naughty Boy because of its 40% failure rate, carrying INSAT 3DS, was launched from Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota yesterday. The GSLV F-14 is the 16th flight of the Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle GSLV and the 10th flight with the indigenous cryogenic stage, and it will place INSAT 3DS satellite in a geosynchronous transfer orbit. INSAT 3DS satellite is a follow-on mission of the third generation meteorological satellite from the geostationary orbit. The satellite is an exclusive mission designed for enhanced meteorological observations, monitoring of land and ocean surfaces for weather forecasting and disaster warning. INSAT 3DS satellite will be augmenting meteorological services along with the presently operational INSAT 3D and INSAT 3DR in orbit satellites. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded itself this week back in history. 11 February 1858, Saint Bernard's first vision of Mary at Lourdes. On this day in 1858 in Lourdes, France, 14-year Bernadette Soubirous, a miller's daughter, first had vision of Virgin Mary that were authenticated by Pope Pius IX in 1862, initiating the cult of Our Lady of Lourdes. 12th February 1818, Chile's independence from Spain declared. Although the decisive victory over the Spanish did not come until the April at Battle of Maipú, Chile, formally declared independence from Spain on this day in 1818, the first anniversary of Chile's victory at Chacabuco. 13th February 1689, William and Mary crowned. Following the Glorious Revolution, William and Mary were proclaimed King and Queen of England this day in 1689, after which they ruled jointly as King William III and Queen Mary II until her death in 1694. 14th February 1989, Fatwa issued against Salman Rushdie. On this day in 1989, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini of Iran issued a fatwa and offered a bounty for assassination of author Salman Rushdie, whose novel The Satanic Verses of 1988 Khomeini denounced as blasphemous. 15 February 1898, USS Maine destroyed, leading to Spanish-American War. On this day in 1898, an explosion in Havana Harbor sank the battleship USS Maine, killing 260 American seamen and precipitating the Spanish-American War, which originated in the Cuban struggle for independence from Spain. 16 February 1959, power in Cuba seized by Fidel Castro. After defeating the forces of dictator General Fulgencio Batista, Fidel Castro became Premier of Cuba this day in 1959 and transformed the island country into the Western Hemisphere's first communist state. 17 February 1979, Vietnam invaded by China. After the Vietnam War, Vietnam bolstered its tie with the Soviet Union rather than with China, and following a series of anti-Chinese, pro-Soviet maneuvers by Vietnam, China invaded its southern neighbor this day in 1979.
Well, that's all friends for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.